This is the end of the year, though. And it's March, and that shows you how fucking busy it is when you finally get busy in this industry.
Oh,
Because
for sure.
I blinked, and it was January. We went to Sundance. I don't even remember the last time we did an episode, but I think we promised we were going to do an episode, and then a month went by, or 2 months, and we didn't do one.
Right, yeah. It's been a while.
We just
been a few
called
weeks.
this like the Whenever We Can podcast. whenever we have time.
Yeah.
But I thought that because I have such a hard time relating to you in your brain that maybe we could talk about
Relating to me. No, let me ask you. Film is supposed to be for everyone, man. You got to relate to everyone.
You were going to give me a compliment that I could hear it. You're the film expert. I heard that in your voice.
You hear what you want to hear.
Yeah,
man.
you almost said it, but you were like, "That's too much to give one person."
Well, I got to see what your top 5 are. That's
Your ego is out of control, and you're a moron.
funny how that works out, huh?
You don't even refute it. I love it. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm not.
Go on.
No, I'm just saying.
You think that's an insult?
Yeah, man.
I felt like the Oscars were the Everything Everywhere All at Once Oscars.
Oh, I know.
And I'm not saying that to discount the film. It's just like when that happens to Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Titanic. There are these Oscars where you go like, well, that movie's going to get everything. So people. It was historic and monumental for its own reasons, but as a huge Oscars fan, I think I've seen every Oscar since 1993. I do get kind of disappointed because the mystery is gone a little bit from this ceremony.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, we know what's gonna happen.
And even though you got 0 on your Oscars ballot,
I
this
did not
year,
get no
0 out
It
of
was forged with
26.
I think I got 17. I think that was the no. I got a 13 out of 27.
Ooh, you lose every year. It's so sad.
There was 1 year I won.
It always comes down to the short films, and I watched everything and all of them all at once. And
I know you said it before. I almost jumped in, but I was like, fuck, I can't.
Let's cut to that. So we're gonna do our top 5 movies of 2022 now that the Oscars are over.
Right.
Is Everything Everywhere All at Once on your top 5?
No, it's not even on my top 10.
Man, see, that's a bold statement. It's not in my top 5 either. I'll let that out of the bag, but I'm not going to say if it's in my top 10 because that's going to get you blacklisted,
Okay, well,
and not in the good script way.
okay, well, no, I mean, these are my favorites, man. These are my favorites.
But why didn't you like that movie the best? Why isn't it on your top 5? Why isn't it on your top 10?
I think
And
it's a great
what
movie.
beat that movie in 6 through 10? That's what I want to know.
Oh man, there's a couple on here you'll be shocked, but
Oh, I always am. I think your favorite movie of last year was Candyman, the remake.
Yeah, it
The
was.
Candyman remake.
Yeah, it was.
Have you watched it since?
No,
That is not your favorite movie of the year, then.
I'm going to now, but because I watched
You're
so many
you're
movies.
so busy in your own mind, I
I've been-
guess. Your mind is like Jennifer Lopez in The Cell.
Yeah, it is. But no, the reason why it didn't get on my top 10. It's great. I like the movie. It's just I don't know. I get it.
Okay, take the filter off and tell us why this movie didn't make it, but other movies did.
Because
Ruin your career.
it wasn't as groundbreaking. Like everyone's saying, this is
Groundbreaking. I thought it was very groundbreaking.
great. I thought it would have been more like for as much as it's hyped, but I was like, okay, it's,
What was it hyped under? Tell me.
that it's this crazy kung fu
It was.
Matrix.
It
like-
was.
like
All the things you're
Movie.
saying so far are correct. It was crazy. It had great kung fu and a lot of innovation like The Matrix. So why?
I've watched it 3 times. So-
Wow. And that didn't make your top 10. You've seen a movie 3 times. It
Yeah.
came out in the same year. And I think it came out in June.
Yeah, in June. Yeah,
See, it's 6 months. You've seen it 3 times. I can't even get you to watch The Godfather 3.
I've watched that before, and
Sorry, Meet the Fockers.
There you go. Yeah, I don't. It's just maybe I watched it too many times. I'm skewed.
Bicycle Thieves.
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, who directed it?
Um,
What country? Never mind. What country is it from?
France,
Wrong. Moving on.
England.
Yeah. Yes, please. Jasika's from England. Anyway.
Oh, okay. India.
I'm going to snip my own part here. You are a charlatan. And I prove this to you every year when we do these lists. I think I famously threw my list in your face one year when we were filming the pilot for the 4 Seasons of Film podcast TV show because you just bum me out so much with your top 5 picks, top 10 picks, because you really don't. It's like your March Madness bracket. You don't even put any thought into this at all.
I did
you
for
just
this.
pull them all out of your ass, and then you wipe with your own pulling.
Well, for the March Madness bracket, that is completely true. But for this, no, it
You
was
took your
difficult.
time and you sat down and you wrote it all out.
I did.
Tell me the process that you did this. You did this process with. See,
So-
I'm getting dumber just talking to you.
So, I woke up early. I had a nice cup of coffee.
Oh my god!
And then
just
I
come
sit
on.
down
Just
and
come
I
on.
pontificate. No, I just
One
think about it.
time I asked
I
you.
write 1 through 10 down on my notes page, and I'm like, all right.
One time I asked you to go into a movie and completely annotate your experience watching the movie in a theater.
It was the movie
And-
Bears. It was a
and-
documentary live action of just following around bears.
And you took that assignment to mean write down everything that comes into your mind, and it didn't have to do with the movie at all. I remember you writing down things about clouds or gummy bears. I remember you mentioned the movie probably 80% less than I thought you would. And you were
Because
doing
it was like not that it was bad. It was the Discovery documentary about bears narrated by John C. Riley. Dude, it's not like you're just watching them like, oh yeah, they're majestic.
But
What else
the
are you supposed to fucking
assignment was
say?
for a film podcast for you to write down your thoughts on the film, not go, what did I have for dinner on Thursday last week?
We're getting off track here. This is not, that was a different Andy.
I think people can agree this is the podcast.
It was bears, man. I really enjoy how they grabbed that salmon out of the stream. That spoke to my soul.
And again, still failing on the assignment. Don't just write down what happens on the screen. This shows how creative you are.
It makes
and
me
by
re-
creative, I mean not creative at all. At once.
What would you say to that scene then in Bears?
I would probably talk about other documentaries, other nature documentaries, other documentaries with bears, other documentaries with salmon, other documentaries with nature. Do you want me to keep going on to make you look foolish?
No, man. Okay, list me some documentaries about salmon.
So that's yes. That's a yes. I mean, I would probably talk about Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey the entire time.
Well, that's one thing. That's
That's fine. And I could talk about one movie the whole time, and it would still be talking about a movie and not what color the chandelier light is in your parents' house.
Because, dude, it was the wrong movie to do it to. I'm just saying that.
Ever in defense, let's keep going. We did movie news. We talked about how big a moron you are. That's the show.
Salmon documentaries.
So, a top 5 best movies of 2022. What's your criteria here? Is it the actual best movies or best that you enjoyed, that you liked, that you've seen more than once? What are your rules and stipulations for a best top 5 list?
It is a movie that may not necessarily has to be the pick by the Oscars. What I enjoyed the most.
The one you've seen the most or just enjoyed the most?
Enjoyed the most.
Would you say that you've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once the most
out of this list?
from last year?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, how many times? Oh, actually, no, The Fablemans. I've watched The Fablemans like 4 times.
That's because of me. That's because
So,
of me. I wonder if that's on my list.
Yeah. Well,
See, that goes to my point, though. You've seen The Fablemans because I made you watch it 4 times.
No. You made me. I watched it once, then you made me rewatch it 3 more times. Let's get it straight here, bub.
And I would make you're gonna watch it a 5th time. I know you. I know
I'm
you.
walking out of the studio.
Mommy. It's terrible. Don't mock that scene. It's a great movie. But the point is
That
you
better
have
be your number
seen-
one. Or I'm
I have
pissed.
seen The Fablemans probably 5 times and from last year, and it is on my top 5 list. And you've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once 3 times, and it's not even in your top 10. Do you agree that I should be livid with you?
This is what I like the most, man.
Why are you watching a movie more than once if you didn't like it?
Okay, you got to watch it because it's nominated. Then it got
Once.
yeah, and then it got nominated so much. You're like, what? Let me watch this movie and see.
Twice is fine.
And then somebody else hasn't seen the movie, and they're like, let's watch the movie. I'm like, fuck
Then
it.
why are you sitting there?
Because I was,
You have nowhere else to go? What is this, jail?
I mean, you got to watch the movie. If somebody else is watching a movie for the first time, being a filmmaker, you got to give them that experience.
Who's the filmmaker here?
We are.
Did you just say you're a filmmaker?
Yeah, man.
I'm going to sidestep that landmine.
And so yeah, I mean, just that's the 3.
All right, so let's start with your number 5.
Number 5, After Sun.
Okay,
With
that's
Bob
fine.
Mescal.
That's fine. We're gonna overlap here, I guess, because mine. I also have After Sun on my top 5.
Okay, cool.
We already had a podcast on it. Is there anything else you could possibly say about this movie without repeating yourself?
Oh man, I would just say it was one of the movies. After completing the year of film, it's still stuck with me. You know, that's the
God,
thing.
could you
know?
just be you instead of
Yeah,
trying to
man.
sound like a fucking film critic?
It was one of the movies that moved me this year. Made me feel all the
Okay,
feels.
talk about it like you're drunk at a party somewhere.
Man, fucking Paul Mescal. Man, he depresses the fuck out
I
of
don't
you in
think
this
it's
movie.
mezcal, by the way, but if you're
Mezcal.
drunk, that makes sense.
Mezcal.
Yeah,
Mezcal.
mezcal.
Mezcal. I'm drinking mezcal.
Fucking moron.
But yeah, look, don't watch this movie unless you want to pontificate for 2 hours afterwards after watching the ending. You know, like come on, man.
And that's why it's one of your favorite films on the year. Like, don't watch this movie if you don't want to think.
right.
That's why I watched it.
Yeah, well, it's necessary. That's the medium of film, as you know, is that's what it's there for, man.
Oh,
That's-
God,
that's what
you're
it's supposed to
stealing lines
transcend.
out of my podcast, out of my review of a podcast. You know, I always know when you're plagiarizing me.
What do we
You're like
mean?
that kid that scores the goal and then says it's my ball.
No, you never. No,
Actually, what am I talking about? When have you ever scored a goal?
I've scored a few. I wasn't the most athletic.
Yeah, but not at sports.
yeah, there was a few like baskets or goals here or there. You know, every once in a while.
I'm
What's
guessing
your number
it's-
5? What's your number 5?
I'm guessing it's balled up paper contest into a trash can and nobody's home.
Oh, it's pretty good. That's a pretty good
Oh
sport.
God!
All right,
I
what's your
know.
number 5?
I should be your psychiatrist.
No.
Do it. Anyway, my number 5, or should I since After Sun is on my top list, should I just talk about it too, or wait for that? How can I bore you today, Andy?
Yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
I have After Sun as my number 3, actually. My number 3.
Damn.
Because of its effectiveness on not only myself as an audience member, but in the grand scheme of things where film is nowadays. This was the first film by Charlotte Wells. And that unto itself is a major win for the film industry, because to come out of the gate and do something as good as that, it was all the right kinds of tragic. Does that make sense?
It does, man.
Yeah, it hits you on every level where you don't. I mean, you watch the movie. I watched the movie like it was a horror movie because I thought the ultimate horror was going to come in reality, and I did not want this little girl in the movie to get hurt.
Right.
I kept thinking she was going to, and then they flipped the script on you, and they flipped the narrative on you, and you should have been watching the dad the whole time. I was watching the little girl the whole time going, please don't hurt this young actress because she's so good, and I believe in the dad because he feels so real. Oh God, is he going to hurt her?
Right.
And instead, you know what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So
and when you realize that, you're just like, oh my God.
that's the end of the movie. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you realize it a
You
little bit
realize
before
that.
the end of it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wizard over there who's
They-
seen so many films.
Yeah, thank you. It's just the standard narrative.
How about this? Use the words "I" more instead of "we" or "you,"
I think.
because when you start speaking for me, that's the day I cut the cord.
What do you? You felt this too.
Stop! Don't put words in my. What did I just say? Don't you
I
at
just
all
remember
talk
I
about
was
my
just like-
experience?
I was like, this is where this movie's going. Oh fuck. I was like, dude. I was like, it just hits you like a ton of bricks.
Well, it seems like she was under the tutelage of Barry Jenkins, who I think was either an EP or a producer on this, and in the best way, because his movies are so evocative of real life that there was such an added touch of, I think, his influence or his style of influence, or a lot of people's style of influence on a movie like this, which is sort of, almost like a fly on the wall documentary meets a dream sequence of someone's reflections on their life. And in that really sappy way that, my mother would never want to watch this movie because it's very sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she said that. Why would I want to watch a sad movie? And, it's some people don't want to watch sad movies. And I absolutely do want to watch sad movies because they remind me I'm alive.
Right. That's what I said. I was like, if you want to think.
Oh, that's
about
what
your
you
life,
said.
Life for 2 hours. Watch this movie. You know, that's exactly. Yeah, man.
Taking the words right out of your mouth as always, huh, Andy?
Yeah, I can't believe it, man. We're so simpatico.
What is your number 4?
The Whale?
Wow, that's higher up on the list than I thought.
Yeah, man. I do. It's just.
And you've seen this once?
I've seen it. I've seen it. I can only say once, but I've seen it 1.75 times because I the first time I took a little nap in the middle of it. But
Okay,
back.
how is this your favorite of the year?
Because
You
I
took
went back,
a nap.
I went back, like I stated before. When there's certain rules, it's like a mogwai. If I start watching a movie late, there's a good chance I might fall asleep.
Okay, this was like a Sunday afternoon when you fell asleep.
No, that was a different movie you're thinking of.
Oh my dear Lord. What was it about The Whale that made your number 4?
It was just the way, of course, Brendan Fraser's performance, but just the story itself and just how you
Again, drunk at a party. Stop this bullshit. You're not Elvis Mitchell. Give me the drunk at a party version of your critique on this film, because that's the only real you can be.
So it's like Brendan Fraser's amazing at it, dude. It's unbelievable, and it's like the story is just like it's just this look into this dark realm with him going at the
Nope, you're
end
getting
of
too smart. Getting too smart again.
Dark realm is too smart.
Yeah, for you, because you just messed up the word smart.
Anyway, because you see, he only has so many days to live, so it's
Don't recount the movie for me.
I mean, but that's what's like a ticking time bomb, man. You don't know what's gonna happen, and this guy's trying to make peace with his old life, with his daughter, and you find out what happened to.
You're
his
just
family.
telling me what happens in the movie.
But dude, it's just the
Do you
watcher.
not understand what a review is?
I was, like I said, I was moved by the story and just felt for the character of Charlie,
Drunk
man.
at a party.
And it's just, you watch this guy and you just want to give him a hug the whole time, and then you want him to like be, maybe it's too late, but it's like, oh dude, you wish you could just turn it all around. And
Drunk at a party.
I am drunk at a party right now, man. And
It doesn't sound like it, because I would run away from the person who's like, it's about life in the trees, man.
It's
about living every day to the fullest.
And it's a commentary on human relationships, man. And that could be a relationship with food or
human relationships.
Yeah.
Couldn't have just said relationships.
Well, because there's also the food relationship, the human to food.
Human relationships.
Yeah.
I know I still have no reason to put this on your... See, I do a little top 5 of my own for you, and based on your reviews, that's when I tell you what your real top 5 is, and this has no business being on your top 5 right now, because nothing you've said actually is evocative of why you like the movie.
Yeah, that's... I thought I was getting it across. It's a great, like it's based on a stage play. Like you could just see the artistry in everybody's performance, man. That's what lifts it, man.
God, you were so boring.
Anyway, is it on your top 5?
No, it's not on my top 5.
All right, good. What's number 4?
I loved the film. I think, around the character of Brendan Fraser, there's no denying that, he was one of the best actors of the year. He even won a fucking Oscar for it. And would you have given it to anybody else?
No, man. It was straight to him.
Who was your second pick for best actor?
What was it? Who else was in the category? It was
what
just him.
was it?
Who else was Colin Farrell was up there.
Anyway, I thought Hong Chow was also brilliant in this movie. Between her and Brendan Fraser character, I think they related so well on the human level of it. I think she brought the most humanity to the character of Charlie, and that's probably controversial for you to hear.
Well, I just said human relationships, human.
Yeah, you just say words that, and then you don't continue. I actually give a purpose and say, this was the reason there was humanity to this movie because of specific things.
The compassion she
Drunk
brought.
at a party or book report. You got to do one or the other.
All right. Well, next one's going to be surprise.
The next one's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, I have to see what number 3 is.
Oh my God.
List. Oh, yep.
I'm going to guess it's the menu or something.
No, it's not.
Is the menu on your top 5?
What's your number 4?
Is the menu on your top 5?
It's in my top 10, not in my
your
top 5.
10. Okay, there you go. That's only because I talked you out of it.
No. This is set, man. This has been written in stone.
Number 4 for me is Blonde.
Oh, okay.
That's
on my list
number
too.
4, and I know it's a controversial pick, And I just want to tell everyone out there, I will defend this movie again. If you want to listen to the Jager Moore podcast, filmmaker Jager Moore podcast, where Andy said nothing for 2 hours. And it was the best podcast we ever had. Blonde is, I think, a misunderstood movie. Some have compared it to, like 2.5 hours of torture. I think
That's
I
Babylon.
even compare. Wow, that's 3 hours and 10 minutes.
I know.
I think I compared it to, on the podcast, even kind of like The Last Temptation of Christ. No, what's the other one? Sorry, what's the one with Jim Caviezel? The Mel Gibson one.
Oh,
The Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ.
It's like that a little bit because it is watching this iconic person, go through hell her entire life, and it's not fun. It's very challenging. It's very hard, but I think it's one of the most important narratives on celebrity and Hollywood and our culture to this day, modern culture that we should be talking about. And I don't think it's any coincidence that our culture can't take a movie like Blonde because they don't want to put a mirror up to themselves and say, all of this Instagram Kardashian shit is hurting all of us. And it always has been. It's existed way before. Take Marilyn Monroe's case, but we're still not addressing the real problem here. We either defend it or we don't want to look at it. We have our heads in the sand, and Blonde is one of those great movies that, like a John Waters movie or a Yorgos Lanthimos movie or a fucking Lars von Trier movie, it's hard to watch, but you have to watch for the meaning. Otherwise, you're part of the problem. You can't have an opinion on Blonde if you didn't see the movie.
For sure. That's why I picked. It's my number 2.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was just this.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Number 2. What are you, crazy? I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding,
because
I'm kidding.
it was the best. My number 1 is my personal, like what I enjoyed the most. But as far as the one I was like, man, that is film, that is cinema. It was Blonde. Just
Film that is cinema.
Yeah, man.
It's film that is cinema.
Right. Exactly. It's just, and it's such important, and it's in
Like
for
history written with lightning.
It is, man. It's not this fucking cheese fest. Like, I don't walk no line. It's like, dude, let's take a real look at what actually happened.
Wow. Did you just say I don't walk no line?
Yeah, I did.
Again, plagiarizing me from last weekend. Good.
Well, that's what maybe reminded me of Blonde.
There's so many cases of plagiarism in this world, and it's always fun when you get real-time accusations and then you hear the other person just crumble
What do you mean?
over the airwaves.
We were talking about
what do you mean?
Walk the Line.
Right, you did remind me of that this weekend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It fit perfectly.
I would love to be in a court of law with you and be your lawyer.
No way. You would just be like, listen, he did it. He did it. I ain't defending him. I ain't defending him. And I'd be like, I wasn't even in the country. So
what is your number 3?
Banshees of Inisherin.
I mean, if you can't pronounce it, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be your number 3.
Yeah, no, it is, man. Banshees, man. Banshees is my number 3.
Okay, well, that was my number 1.
Ooh, okay.
I loved that movie. I think it was the best movie of the year, but let's let you ruin it. Why? It's your number 3.
Because it was just.
What didn't you like it about it to be so it could be number 1?
For me,
can I rephrase that? What didn't you like about it so it wasn't your number 1?
It wasn't that I didn't like anything about it. For me, it was the one I picked for number 1 was more humorous.
Did you not answer the question? You didn't hear the question. What didn't you like about it that hindered it from becoming higher on your list?
Well, I think because it wasn't because my favorite one, I saw it and I was like, dude, this is amazing, and I watched it.
Were you gonna say funny?
Well, because my number 1 is
it has to be funny to be your favorite movie of the year.
No, it doesn't have to be funny, but I like this one is like this is like usually it's like my there's usually a funny and a serious pick, right? This is my serious.
Why
pick.
does it have to have criteria? Why does it have to be anything? If you just like the movie, it doesn't have to be a genre.
Yeah, well, it's just because this one. My number one of the stipulations is having fun watching it, and not that I didn't have fun watching Banshees of Inisherin. I just had more fun.
And you still can't pronounce it. I mean, this is just
Inisherin.
This is insane to me. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I can't pronounce.
Inisherin.
In a Sharon.
In a Sharon. In a Sharon. Ooh, who shot? Yeah, okay, gotcha. In
Who
a
shot the sheriff?
Sharon.
Sharon did. God, oh my
But
God!
yeah,
It's
but
like some
just
terrible like who's on first
the
routine.
magnetic performances.
The magnetic performances.
Of Colin Farrell.
Drunk at a party,
And
please.
Gleason, it's just so beautifully done. It's just
Oh,
you
God.
feel for Colin Farrell the whole time, and it's just so
I
heartbreaking.
know there's people out there going, yeah, he's right. Yeah, I did feel for those. If you're talking this way about a movie that was one of your favorites of the year and you're going, the performances were great, man.
Well, no, that was that. I mean, that's the powerhouse of it. Just this. It's just
No,
a
it's not.
masterclass.
It's number one on my list because of more than just the performances.
Well, no,
it
it's
starts with the script. It's also the direction. It's the locations they use. It's the cinematography. It's the
Beautiful.
lighting. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's set back to.
Well, I now know why it's your number 3 because you don't even know what you're looking for.
I do that. That's all taken into account, man.
You're gonna tell me of all the things I just named, there's better out there there's a better movie out there from last year in all those categories. And
it's my number
and then
3.
if there is
my number 2,
and
Blonde.
if there is, why isn't it on your top 5 list? Nay, why isn't it number 1 or number 2? If it's better directed, if it's better shot, come on. There's a better script in your number 1 or 2.
Well, number 2's Blonde. We just talked about that one. Like, I don't know, man.
But I will say, I might concede that Blonde is. I would go with him for best director this year, even though he wasn't nominated. So okay, you've got me on that one. Script, I don't think there was a better script than The Banshees this year. I think that should have won. That was such an amazing script, and I also think it should have won for cinematography.
It was beautiful. It was, and the backdrop of Ireland did not hurt, man. It was amazing. Now
That
you say
is
it.
the most condescending thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, no, I meant that with sincerity and as much praise as possible.
You're talking about my number 1 here.
I am, dude. I love the movie. It's my number 3.
And Blonde is number 2.
Blonde's number 2. Yeah.
God. And so what could possibly be number 1 that was the best movie this year?
Today's episode of the Four Seasons of Film podcast is brought to you by Phil's Coffee. Phil's specializes in handcrafted coffee made 1 cup at a time. Visit a location today or find them on the web at philscoffee.com. That's Phil's with a Z, coffee.com. Find the beans you're looking
and
for.
So what could possibly be number 1 that was the best movie this year? And it doesn't hurt that it wasn't filmed in Ireland.
Oh, I mean, this one had exotic locations too. Triangle of Sadness. That was my favorite movie.
And you've seen it once.
I've seen it twice.
No, you've seen it once.
I've seen it once.
Thank you. Why do you lie?
Well,
I don't understand.
I did watch it again. But
You don't know if it's your favorite movie of the year. That's my point. I don't give a shit about what you're going to say, but I'm going to let you talk because I guess that's the rules.
Yeah, it is the rules.
But this is majorly messed up that you have only seen the movie one time. You lied about seeing it more than once in real time.
Well,
and
no,
now you're gonna try to remember why you liked this movie.
I'm try to remember. I put it as number 1. I just the way that the story of the 2 different classes on the boat and to just see how the dynamic and from when it starts all the way to then it turns into the survival piece of it all, and the comedy is just so fucking tongue biting. It's amazing.
Name 1 comedy bit from this movie besides the vomiting.
No, I'm not. The vomiting doesn't always do it. For
And
me.
that's why the vomiting actually took this down to number 7 on my list because I just think it's cheap. Vomiting is like a fart joke. It doesn't. It's very, very easy to just. And then this person throws up. Even though I very much enjoyed Triangle of Sadness, like I said, it's number 7 for me. I think the script is amazing. I don't believe this is your number 1.
That is my number 1.
I don't believe you.
Why? I even said, I was like, dude, this is still one of my favorite movies of the year. And looking back, I was like, yeah, it was my favorite. Just because I've seen it technically once, it just stuck with me the whole time because that's like my humor. I love that. And that's what it just spoke to me.
Even though you can't remember anything about it.
I mean, the whole Survivor thing where she's forget her character's name, but you know,
You don't talk about the social commentary. You don't talk about what the script is actually saying. You just say what happens in the movie and you say it's funny.
I mean,
That's my humor.
I mean, just the life of luxury, and then when shit hits the fan, what really, you know, what does it really say? Who can really survive? What's really important?
I'm giving you the breadcrumbs, and you're picking them up and you're eating them whole.
And well, you know, it is a gingerbread house, or maybe a gingerbread yacht, and that's why it sank. So that's my number one. We just plowed through my list.
I don't even know why it would be your. That one is immediately disqualified.
But you can't disqualify.
I can too, because you can't just see you
And
cannot
even before I
see.
say it, you're like, you're gonna. This will probably be your favorite movie of the year, and you were right.
I did not, and if I don't remember, it didn't happen.
Oh, okay, that's how it works.
I said the Triangle of Sadness was probably going to be your favorite movie of the year. Didn't we watch it together?
No, I watched it on my own. You watched it before I did.
I watched it without you.
Yeah.
No wonder I liked it.
There you go. So
This wasn't a supervised viewing. I knew nothing about it. I don't remember you talking about it on a podcast. So you had never mentioned this movie to me since you'd seen it, that this was your favorite movie of the year.
we talked about it. We did it on a
Bullshit. Fabelmans is your favorite movie of the year, and that was my number 2.
No, it's
yes,
on my
it was. You've seen it 5 times.
Not by choice. Not by fucking choice. I've seen it as much as Triangle of
You've
Sadness.
seen it 5 times.
I just put it at number 10 as a mercy nod for you.
You put it at number 10.
I did.
That is bullshit. It's one of the best movies of the year. I struggled to put it as my number 1. There's things that kept it off of that number 1 list, but as a filmmaker, which I guess you aren't, it is an ode to cinema. It's told from the perspective of one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. I can't even imagine a film person not loving this movie enough to put it in its top 3.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I am so high and mighty. I only watch my movies once and make sure that they're chilled when I have my olive afterwards. You failed at this list.
No, I didn't fail.
If you didn't put the Fabelmans up there, having seen it
it's just
5
because you're mad.
times. I'm not mad. You saw it 5 times.
I think 4, but
5 times. You know how many? Do the math. It's 2.5 hours long.
God damn, I know. I wish I could have some of that time back. I don't have to see it 5 times.
What was your problem with the movie?
It was a little cheesy, man. It was.
I mean, it's Spielberg. It is. All his movies are a little cheesy.
I know, and that's great, man. So,
and he really went through this shit. And the filmmaking sequences are amazing. And the anti-Semitism was really hard to watch.
Yes.
And so what is this?
Maybe what is this? But it's just because, I mean, it's just. I get it, man. It's the Fabelmans.
You don't. That's your answer for everything.
Paul Dano fucking ruins it for me. And
you can't shit on a specific actor.
Some of the performances.
Plus, he's just the dad in it. How does the dad doesn't have that much to do in the movie? So how does he ruin the movie for you?
You know,
charlatan.
Yeah, no, come on, man. Just because
plebeian.
Just because I watched it 5 times. Listen, man, it's a great movie. I'm not saying it's not. That's why I made my top 10. But.
You remind me of this one time I got really drunk at this Irish bar in Berkeley, and this band was playing, and they played this really great 70s song nobody heard. So I got up and yelled, "Plebeians!" and I left.
Wow. That's amazing.
And nobody even batted an eye. They were like, what does that mean? That's what it's like yelling at you. I could yell at you something specific, and you're just going to go like, cool.
I just didn't hit it didn't hit as hard for me as it did for you, I guess. What number are we even on for you? I already did my top 5.
I'm done.
What's number 1?
Banshees. I told you that already.
Okay, number 2's Fabelmans.
Yes, and you know what? Number 1 is Fabelmans for you. So talk about why you love this movie more than every other movie.
What was number 3?
Aftersun.
4?
Blonde.
Okay. Okay.
And I didn't even do my number 5.
What is your number 5?
We're not done talking about the Fabelmans.
No, we are done talking about
It's a love letter to cinema.
So is
made by Steven Spielberg. It's what every filmmaker does. And you know why I loved it the most? Because he didn't do the ripoff of 8.5.
Okay.
The Fellini film, by the way.
I understand. I know who it's by.
Every filmmaker that makes a movie about their life does a ripoff of 8.5, and they make it this dream sequence. Remember, we just watched Bardo, the
Great Near whatever.
That was your review of the movie, by the way. Yeah, the grade of whatever.
The False Chronicle of a Handful of Truth.
Even Iñárritu did his version of 8.5. They all do it. It drives me crazy. You go, it's time to do your Fellini. I mean, Spielberg did his version of. It's not a version of Fellini. It's the movie about his life, and he did it like Steven Spielberg. His realistic idea of how he wants to make this movie is the best. The only other person that rivals that is Tarantino, who sees the movie in his head and makes the movie. Spielberg is the closest to that, in my opinion, of anybody. Tarantino and Spielberg, and I would actually say Spielberg does it better.
Okay. Yeah.
Or I just think more, not better, just more.
Right.
Because he makes more movies.
Yeah, it's not just 10 or whatever it's going to be.
10.
But I get it, man. I totally get it.
He did his 8.5, but he reinvented the way people will do movies about themselves as filmmakers. He reinvented a genre. Andy, you cannot take that away from film history. And the fact that you put it as number 10 is so degrading. It shows your immaturity and lack of awareness for this industry.
But the point of that it made way, Spielberg made way for the other movies.
We should pitch this show like it's like Crossfire, but on movies. It's like one of those news shows where people are just yelling at each other the whole time, but with movies.
We should do it, man. We are doing it. What are you talking? You want to hear my 6 through 10?
Well, when we pitch the guest, we'll be like, all right, you can come on, but you got to get ready to be in an argument.
Yeah, that's right.
And the only way that's going to happen if they're as ignorant as you.
No. Oh, come on.
Oh, there's another way?
No. What do you mean? There's not because of ignorant. It's just because, like, dude, I get it.
I mean, the argument will never the argument will never get down to like you're a duty face. Okay, so I promise. I literally just have that little respect for your artistry and the way your brain thinks about movies creatively.
Okay, well, you know what? That's just shite, man. That's just shite. Straight shite.
You're into the duty face thing. Well, that's just your opinion.
Well, I like movie. I like what I like, man, and I have a different lens.
I write the songs that make the whole world sing.
I mean, do you want to hear my 6 through 10 or what?
I don't really care. You didn't even let me do my top 5.
What was your number 5?
I'm not even going to tell you. It's none of your business.
Well, I want to know now, Mr.
No, go
Fablemans.
fuck yourself. It would never be at all. I couldn't say that on Crossfire. You know, Tucker Carlson, go fuck yourself. Wow. I think we're going to have to cut the commercial.
What's your number 5, man?
No, it's none of your business. You didn't leave me room for it, and it would never be.
You skipped around. You skipped around, man.
I did not. I gave you time to do yours, and you didn't ask me about mine. I'm highly offended.
Oh, stop.
I'm highly offended by your choices. And
even though you just told me, you were like, I just gave you my list, and now you're saying you didn't give me a list?
And your condescending way of putting my favorite movie on the bottom of your list. Like, that's such bullshit. You know it. That's why I don't even want to hear your 6 through 10 because it's all going to be condescending bullshit.
No, it's not.
Your top 5 was condescending. You don't even believe in what you're saying.
I do.
It's like when you said The Secret Life of Walter Mitty was your favorite movie of that year. That's such bullshit. Name one time you've seen that movie since. You can't because all you see is all you've seen is Sean Penn's finger going, "Come to me." It's bullshit.
Magical. Oh, all right, well, dude, I want to dance with somebody, and that was about Fableman.
Okay, so now you're just going into movies you've seen. That I love. That's where you are not qualified for these kind of lists. You're just going, I don't even know what I saw this year. Well, I remember I saw that. Well, put that as number 6. I don't remember.
I love the Whitney Houston movie. You don't talk about.
I got it, but you saw it.
Yeah,
so it goes on the list.
That's one prerequisite. I have to see the fucking movie. Yeah.
Number 6.
Number 6. I want to dance with somebody.
Number 7.
Top Gun Maverick.
See, that was my number 10.
That was okay. Yeah, because it was fun. It was a great movie.
But my question is, to quote Conan O'Brien's son, why the hell did we bomb New Hampshire?
Yeah, that was it was the. They had to do what they had to do, man. COVID was a tough time, I guess.
I loved the movie. I really did. And I've seen that 3 times. And that's why it goes on my list, because I've seen it more than once. So obviously it's entertaining.
I didn't know that was the criteria.
That is literally common sense. If you liked a movie, you're going to see it more than once.
For sure. But this is like I watched Triangle of Sadness a few months ago. I'm going to watch it again. Yeah, once.
You are not qualified to do these lists.
The Menu is number 8.
Okay, we have a podcast coming up on that with our sommelier friend Nate Baus, so I will not probe you on that because I know how you get when you have to repeat information.
Well, okay, now do you agree with that being on my list, The Menu?
The Menu was not on my top 10, but I really did enjoy that movie.
And then, okay.
I did. I love that movie. That is a really great movie.
It is. And then there's this movie. Well, no, you're gonna shit all over this one.
Well, it's above The Fabelmans.
I'm not gonna tell you unless you tell me number 5.
My number 5 was Apollo 10.5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And did you ever see it?
I didn't. I can't say I saw.
Are you kidding me?
I want to go back and watch it, man. I love it.
It's an animated Richard Linklater film that did not get nominated in the best animation category, even though I think it should have won.
Oh yeah.
It's well, that's it. I think it should have tied with Pinocchio, and they didn't allow it because the rotoscope method that he used, they felt like he cheated and just painted over filming of live sequences and didn't create enough animation, which is bullshit, by the way, if you've actually seen the movie. But it is just like his Linklater's best work. It's a nostalgia piece about a young kid growing up in Houston during the space race, and that's pretty much it. It is just a series of what it was like to be a child running out of the house and not coming home till dark with your brothers and sisters or your friends, playing kick the can, going to school, being intimidated by teachers and having no control. What was your relationship with your parents like? It's such a simple piece, but it makes me feel like I want to live my 10-year-old self again without it being scary nostalgia for all the scary things and mistakes you made, but in this great way that Linklater always does when he goes back and he tells a story that's already happened decades earlier. You're in such good hands because he gives you the nostalgic parts that make you feel like you want to be alive still, and you think, oh my God, that's right, we were so innocent and it was so much fun to be alive. Most of his films, there is a tragic element to a lot of it, but most of his films remind you it's so important to realize that you're alive. And this is just another one. I would put it up there with some of the best work he's ever done in his career. Before Sunrise is like that. Dazed and Confused is, of course, like that. Boyhood is like that. I mean, Linklater can't help but evoke that emotion out of me. And I certainly wouldn't expect you to comment on him because you'll just disappoint me.
I mean, I love A Scanner Darkly. It's one of my. I love the rotoscope.
That's a go-to right now. We're talking about Linklater. You go to Scanner Darkly, which I love, but that really.
What I mean, the number one Linklater film I've seen the most is Bernie, which is fantastic.
You have seen Bernie more than Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, I think I have.
You've seen Bernie more than Everybody Wants Some.
Actually, no. Everybody Wants Some now over the years after that last watch.
Bernie is a great film, but I have seen Before Sunrise trilogy 10 times more than I've seen Bernie.
I've heard those are great.
What do you mean you've heard?
Yeah, I've been meaning to.
You've never seen any of the Before trilogy? None?
None of them.
I don't think we can be friends anymore. No. Actually, we're not. We weren't friends like for 7 years because of this podcast. So I don't think we can be. Now, colleagues is the wrong word. I don't think I could have my boot around your neck anymore one day a week.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean? Get the fuck out of here, boot. You're going to really love my number 9.
But yeah, that was my number 5. And you know what? I speak with fervor and great respect and in detail for all of my top 5. I tell you why I love the medium of film and not just what happens in the movie and then the actors were good.
Well, sometimes that's part of it.
It is not part of it.
I gave you like the Criterion sleeve on some of these.
Yeah, and I wish you would either be dumb college frat guy at a party telling me about his favorite movie he just saw or why he didn't like it, or give me the snobby Criterion Collection version of it. And by the way, I say snobby, and I have a tattoo of the C of the Criterion on my back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you want to hear my number 9?
Sure.
Metal Lords. It was directed by Peter Sollé. He was the one that did Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
I have not seen that either.
It was a Netflix movie. It was
Metal Lords or The Playlist?
Metal Lords was. But Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. I thought you watched that.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, the music is great. First off, I'm a metal fan. I love metal. But the movie's
Was this based on a documentary?
No, it had like a very similar cover though. I know which documentary you're talking about. It was like the Whackin' Fest or whatever.
The Whackin' Fest, isn't that what you call Saturday?
yeah. But there's a metal fest in like Germany called Whackin'.
You're pronouncing that right. Yeah. Or you just like saying it that way.
I might be pronouncing it wrong. But it's like a great coming of age story. The kids finding their sense of belonging, and the soundtrack's amazing. There's like
I don't know anything about this movie. So it's about bands.
It's about these two guys. They want to start a metal band, and they got to perform at the Battle of the Bands. And it's just they didn't know where to fit in, and so it's like, hey, we're gonna try to fit in with we like each other to be in a band and figuring out their way. It's like of course they go to like the one girl he's after is kind of part of the popular group, so you got the jock band nerd drama going on, but it's great like feeling of belonging, just trying to find yourself coming of age story, man, and it's funny too. I
mean, you talked about this one better than you talked about most of your top 10. So again, I don't believe you.
What do you mean? Come on, I finally got it on my number 9. And number 10 is Fabelmans.
So number 9 should be moved up to your number 2 or 3. And the Fabelmans is definitely in the top 5.
Well, no, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. It was on my number. I really enjoyed the movie.
And from knowing you and listening to you all year, The Menu is definitely on your top 10.
It is.
But no, it's probably in your top 5 also. Triangle of Sadness is somewhere between 6 and 10 for sure. It's definitely not your top number. It's number 1. Ass.
You'll never.
My ass.
Maybe one year we'll agree on it. But
what, my ass?
Yeah, you are.
Well, thank you very much, sir. That gives me hope. I'll do some more Pilates. Wow, that was disappointing, but also great to get some aggression out and yell at you. I have no desire to tell you what my 6 through 10 is, but once again,
rapid fire.
Banshees, Fabelmans, After Sun, Blonde, and Apollo 10.5. And yours allegedly is
Triangle of Sadness, Blonde, Banshees, The Whale, After Sun.
And what was your top 5 television shows of the year?
Oh, I didn't do that.
Can you have any of them ready? Just rapid fire.
I mean, first time I watched Ted Lasso. That was
nothing
amazing.
Came out last year with Ted Lasso.
I don't remember what came out. TV, that's a whole other thing.
Okay, and you failed my test. The number 1 television show of 2022 was Track Shack. Thank you very much, everyone. We will be back with another episode, and we'll do best first time watches. Maybe we're gonna have some special guests coming up this year. This new season we're calling whatever season of the 4 Seasons of Film podcast. I don't want to thank my guest, Andrew Pesha, and I will just acknowledge him in name only.
What do you mean? Thanks for having me, I guess.
And Track Shack is the best television show.
It is the best television.
And he's one of the producers, by the way. He picked a show that had no episodes premiere last year, better than Track Shack. Hi. And that's also how you know the film business is a fucked up business.
Hey, what are you talking about, man? That was a loaded question. I thought we were trying.
It was called a test.
A test? Well, no, that was a stupid test.
And you failed.
It's like it doesn't even. It makes sense why it was a test.
Best TV show of last year. I worked on one.
I thought I was like, that's why I was like, I don't know. I don't make a list of my top 5.
Says everything about how you think about yourself. Thank you, Andy. I will attempt to contact you soon, and maybe we'll do another 400 episodes of these.
I know, man. It just keeps getting better and better, huh?
Keep film alive. Allegedly.